We're good.
All right, welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to our last TFFL webcast before the start of the 2018 season.
We're good.
All right, welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to
We're good.
all right, welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to our last TFFL webcast before the start of the 2018 season.
Is somebody watching as well? Take control here, Stick. What's happening?
Phil, I think you're in twice.
Okay. Is that gone? I'm not.
Phil, I think you're in twice.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I think if we're in it, I think we're creating that feedback loop.
Where is it? Me creating? How's it me?
I think it's all of us.
You got to close your YouTube windows.
We're trying to open a chat window and participate in it live.
There we go. Yep.
Guys, I apologize. That was a buried browser window when we first started. So my apologies to the entire league. Please forgive me. Let's continue.
All right. I don't think we really started. So yeah, welcome back. What is it? It's Wednesday. It's August 29th. We are kicking the TFFL into high gear. I want to tell you about all of our social engagements. We had drinks with Ralph last night. With
Nice.
Michael, Phil, and I saw Ralph. We had lunch with Chief today. Me, Phil, and Chief. We're doing the webcast now. Obviously, we have our annual pre-draft dinner at Ray's tomorrow night. Me, Michael, and Phil. We are just days from the keeper deadline, and I'm not sure anybody knows anymore whether it's Saturday or Sunday, but sometime this weekend. We got final trade talks taking place. I'm kind of expecting we will have at least one trade live tonight on the webcast, maybe more. And
we should start doing Hank and Stick movies like Harold and Kumar. Hank and Stick go to TFFL lunch. Hank and Stick go to TFFL dinner. Hank and Stick have drinks with Ralph.
Yes.
Hank and Stick escape from Quantico. It's brilliant.
Visiting each TFFL owner one by one.
Yes. We're trying to make the rounds and make sure everybody feels included in our tour. We want to give equal love to all the owners.
Phil talked to Kramer today. What did Kramer have to say? He's basically stopped work at this point. It's all TFFL now.
He's basically punched out at his job and is full-time preparing for the draft and preparing for the Senators season. If you aren't scared of the Senators yet, you should be.
Well prepared Kramer. All right.
Freed up Kramer to more time to send trade text. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing.
Yeah, it was
Coming at a fast and furious pace.
Raise your hand if you got a trade offer from Kramer today. 3 out of the 4. All right. So as of tomorrow morning, I'm happy to report 7 days away from departing for Myrtle Beach. 1 week away. We're almost there. So we have our TFFL Webcast Classic panel back tonight. Terry is taking a break for the week. Chief back. Hank, Berto, welcome back, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
And let me start us off, as always, with TFFL trivia. I think I've got a good question for us tonight. As we approach the draft, I've taken a look back at the last five TFFL drafts, and I've taken a look at where quarterbacks have been going. Only 4 times in the last 5 years has a quarterback gone in the second round. No quarterbacks have gone in the first round in the last 5 years. 4 times in the last 5 years, a quarterback has gone in the second round. I'm not going to ask you to name all 4 franchises because there aren't 4 franchises. There are only 2 franchises that each have taken 2 quarterbacks in the second round. Name those 2 franchises. Two franchises twice have taken a quarterback in the second round in the last 5 years. That's it.
Yes, today.
All right, so let's jump right into our roundtable. We don't have standings. We really don't have any commissioner reminders. I mentioned the keeper date coming up. I should note that sources close to the treasurer's office have told us, I think we're still waiting on one owner to pay his franchise dues, but there's still some time before we bring out the pitchforks. But pay your dues, get your keepers in this weekend. Now let's move on to the roundtable. Let's start with our defending champions, the Boba Fats. They made a big move here in the last week, acquiring Jared Goff, kind of a surprising move. Matt Stafford, longtime keeper quarterback. Again, these are our defending champions. Stafford delivered a title last year. Matt Stafford is out. It's a bold move. We talked about this at lunch a little bit today, guys. Is it the right move?
I'll chime in just because we did have a little bit of a conversation on this. I think it's a statement of Fats wanting to get on Goff as much as it is being willing to let Stafford go. I question it, and that Stafford's got a good crop of receivers around him, and he's, I think they're both going to be decent. It's a bold move, but hey, he's the Pac Bowl champs. He's trying to repeat. A lot of Rams now on that team with Gurley as well. So,
yeah, I guess it would have been very easy to do nothing and say, well, I'm gonna keep the defending champs together. If you're a hockey fan, you remember maybe I was gonna say the other year, it was probably 15 years ago, where first place Devils cashiered their coach with 8 games left in the regular season, and Lou Lamoriello took over behind the bench. That was his justification. We're in first place, sure, we're gonna easy to do nothing. But I felt a little more was needed. As it turned out, it didn't really work for them. But what I said at lunch, and I've been thinking about this a little bit, was Stafford had a good year last year, right? The 2 years previous, he did not. And I remember the quarterback last year, we all thought that maybe Fats was going to keep Wentz and let Stafford, coming off 2 bad seasons, back into the draft pool. And I wonder if this is some kind of 1 year delayed buyer's remorse, keeper remorse, where he said, he kept Stafford at the expense of a young quarterback. Certainly, Wentz's year 1 was nothing like Wentz's year 2, but a quarterback with upside at the beginning of his career. I wonder if this is just a case where he saw a chance to avoid making that mistake again and get a quarterback just starting off and try to lock that position down for another decade.
Yeah, you might remember I was forecasting him to keep Wentz through much of last offseason. So he made this commitment to Stafford, and then
yeah, I think he's just gambling on greatness. He's even last year, and kind of playing into Chief's point, there were many games last season where I think he was going back and forth about who he was starting. I don't think Stafford started every game for him intentionally. So I think it's just, he's, not super totally sold, confident on him, and he got a good run out of him, and he's taken a flyer on a guy who's 7 years younger, who's got a great offense around him. So for minimal investment, I think that's what was it, a 4th round pick or a 5th round pick? Wasn't a huge, investment. So it was fine. I had no issue with it.
Yeah, I don't criticize it too much. I really don't criticize it at all. Rob told me he's really excited about this. He clearly has been looking at Goff for a while. He's decided that's the quarterback he wants, and I think you could make that argument that Goff has bigger upside. I was just surprised by it more than anything. All right, let me ask you a couple other quick questions about the Fats keeper list. Burkhead or James White at running back? Hank?
Burkhead. I just go with him because I think it's a touchdowns thing. White might get more carries, but I think but he needs big plays, I think, to score. I'd go Burkhead.
Chief, who do you got him keeping?
I got White. White's going to be involved in every game plan. He's proven to be more physically durable than Burkhead. If I was making that decision, I would go with White.
Berto, break the tie.
I think he keeps Burkhead.
You've seen I've had White in there for most of the offseason, so we'll see. And at receiver, I think that's even more of a question mark. He's got a lot of potential keeper receivers. I've been saying Robbie Anderson. I got differing opinions at lunch today. He's got Michael Crabtree, Golden Tate, Emmanuel Sanders. Who gets kept? Who gets left off among those guys?
I like the last three you mentioned better than Robbie Anderson. I like Sanders, Crabtree, and Golden Tate better. Probably in reverse order. Golden Tate first, Crabtree second, Sanders third.
Yeah, I don't even want to try to sort through that.
Yeah, I agree with Phil, and I'll say the other thing too. With some of the maybe offers I'm getting, I would concur with those selections. So
he says cryptically.
Let's talk about the Giant Killers, and that's next on our list here. It has been very tempting to try to bury this franchise. They've been dynastic. I think we're all looking to topple them. Their keeper list has eroded over the years, but Berto finds a way each and every year. He's starting to make some moves. He traded away Gronk. He gets back Zach Ertz on his T-shirt tonight. He added Marshawn Lynch to shore up his keeper list. Big sort of keeper news this week. Adrian Peterson is now a very likely Berto keeper candidate. It's either going to be Peterson or Galladay.
Yep.
Are you leaning strongly one way or the other right now?
Nope. 50-50 right now, I'd say.
All right. But Peterson potentially is suddenly another keeper. I mean, Peterson and Lynch would be two old keeper running backs, but could be productive enough to generate some wins.
The first and second draft pick once upon a time, the same draft.
Well, he can start in week 1 so he can free up his 2020 draft picks, his future trade bait, so that he can plug the holes by week 3.
There you go.
Yeah.
Chief, Hank, what would you guys do, Peterson or Galladay?
Running back over receiver.
I mean, Galloway just doesn't excite me as an every week starter. Yeah, I would do Peterson. Actually, I would probably trade to get somebody better, but of those two, I would go with Peterson.
we all try to trade to get.
I would answer some of those Kramer texts, maybe those Iannuzzi texts.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But you want to get somebody better, of course, but it's a matter of what do you got to give up for a mild improvement, unless
I'll say this too. I look at the other potential keeper candidates, and there's just no one really. I'm like, for any of those casts off on any team, I just look at it. Nothing really floats my boat. So.
I mean, the number 3 receiver in Detroit is not really making a case to be a keeper.
No.
Yeah, he's tall. He's a good red zone target. I think his first few games last year, he scored a touchdown in, and then that was the last I heard from him. Supposedly having a great camp. We all read he's running ahead of Tate and 2 receiver sets. I'll believe it when the regular season gets here.
Yep. So we'll see. So I'd like to make a trade, but I can't. I don't have a lot of picks to get a. Besides some of those 8 or 9 guys who are not going to be kept on other teams, like I said, there's no one that excites me, and I don't have a lot of picks to give away. So we'll see.
So the lesson here is you keep Gostkowski.
Come on.
You do have.
I'm happy you finally took that off the latest.
I didn't need to push your buttons any longer on that one.
Yes.
Oh, it's so much fun.
And you've got a first rounder this year, Berto.
Yes, that's exciting.
And am I correct? I don't have all the draft lists right in front of me, but I think your last 2 first rounders have actually been receivers. Corey Davis and Alan Hearns.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
All right.
Burns was a colossal bust, but we'll see about Corey Davis.
I trust.
He's the main guy in Dallas this year.
Terrence Williams is available. You want to talk cheap? He's cheap.
Just to touch on the Gronk trade too for 1 second.
Sure.
So I don't know if I had remorse after, but I certainly walked away from it saying maybe not my best trade ever, but I'm okay with it. And I actually made that offer to Krams. Now we started it. It'd been going on for weeks and probably 1,000 texts, but I threw that one out there. But then, I listened to the three of you, your feedback, and I'm like, Chief made a good point about did I need to do it at that time? And I thought about that, and the answer is probably no. Maybe I would have been better off, waiting until week 3 of the season or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, not my greatest trade ever, but I don't think it's a colossal, horrific trade either. So
I don't either, Berto. I think you should. You're taking a gamble that Ertz is going to become what Gronk has been in the Philly offense. Who looks like they're going to score a lot of points. And no, he's probably not. Gronk has been dominant. He's been really good. And
yep.
How much longer is he going to be that way? He's probably getting near the end. So I don't mind the gamble, and I hope it fails dramatically for you.
Yep. And Stick, you made another good point too. If it's a 4th round pick instead of that 2nd I'm giving back, it does look a lot better because frankly those picks could be pretty close to each other. But maybe they won't be. And
right.
The difference between a 7th pick and a 14th pick is a huge deal. So we got to see how that plays out. But you're right; they could be pretty close, and that would be not a good thing for sure.
And I do worry. Chief will probably disagree with me, but I think every year now you've got the big risk of Gronk and Brady retiring. And I think Gronk's the kind of guy who's just going to surprise you and do it. You're not going to hear it coming 2-3 years away.
Yeah, like I said, maybe I had it. Maybe I had it locked into my brain too much that I was going to trade him, and I should have been a little bit more patient. But it is what it is.
All right, we're going around and hitting every division here tonight, focusing on at least one team, and we'll talk about almost every team by the end of the webcast as we go through my mock draft. But let's talk about the Hormel Hams next in the SoCo West. They're another team with a variety of decisions to make as we approach the keeper deadline. Again, we've been getting together with Michael a little bit. We have some insights here. He's I think very much considering keeping Patrick Mahomes. I think he's actually got 3 options here. He keeps Breeze, he keeps Mahomes, or he keeps both. And I don't think we've gotten a sense of really which way he's leaning at this point. Let me ask you, what do you think he should do, and what do you think he will do?
I think he'll keep Breeze, and I think it'd be a huge error if he didn't. But I don't think Mahomes is worth keeping at this point. Period.
I think that I agree. Breeze is the guy you got to keep unless you get a really great trade offer. I mean, I think he's a little ahead of it on Mahomes. I think he really likes him and wants him to have that breakout year where he could potentially become his future quarterback. I don't see that happening with Mahomes, but hey, I think that's Michael. He would like to gamble with that player. And what's the difference between that and keeping Devontae Booker? So if he wants to, go for it.
Yeah, I think if there was a Drew Brees market out there, he would trade him in a heartbeat. I'm just looking at the starting quarterbacks. I guess the Mongols could take him over Garoppolo, maybe, but I don't see a whole lot. I don't see a whole lot of teams that would be improved. I guess maybe me with luck could be the next one, taking his comeback. So yeah, I think Mahomes is good. I think he's the real deal. I think there's a chance he outscores Breeze this year. But I think at this point, I think the prudent thing to do would probably be to keep Breeze and pick up Mahomes in the 2nd round or something. Don't have a keeper slot with him, but make a priority to get him back.
And that's my hunch. I think in the end he will keep Breeze and let Mahomes go back. I think on the webcast last year I told you I really like Mahomes, he passes the eyeball test, as they say, but he has not done it long enough, I think, to be a keeper at this point. There have been lots of Ryan Tannehill was a guy, 3-4 years ago. People I think were over, and I think I was one of the guys who did it one of those years, over investing in him in his second and third years, thinking the breakout is coming. He's got all the talent in the world.
Quarterback market's deep.
Yeah,
he doesn't need to do that. I wonder if Michael asked the Fats whether there was any discussions there. I know Michael had, we talked about quarterbacks and that, but I wonder if they've had a discussion before Rob made the deal for Jared Goff, or whether it was just, Rob was that, targeting Goff as the young quarterback that he wanted. He didn't want another old guy, but so probably not.
I wonder if we can get some real-time feedback on the webcast from Fats and or Beavers or Hams on whether there was any discussion about Mahomes prior to that trade.
We're not going to be able to see it in the YouTube thing, but maybe somebody will text us the answer.
Oh, yeah, text the answer.
So another question for the Hams. I think now that they've got 4 keeper running backs, which aging receiver are they going to let go? Jordy Nelson or Jimmy Graham? We actually got the answer to this last night. I don't know. Should I dare to repeat it, Hank? I don't think it was off the record.
I don't think that was off the record, and I think everybody's going to find out on Saturday anyway.
All right. So I think and he can change his mind and he can bluff his way all the way to Saturday or Sunday. I think he's going to end up keeping Jimmy Graham over Jordy Nelson. But again, that's something he's still, I think, weighing.
Maybe the right move.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I've actually had him keeping both of those guys. I hadn't thought about having to choose between them. I think, again, to Hank's theory, Graham is essentially a running back. He's a guy you can play at running back at some point.
I'll tell you what, my phone is blowing up with trade offers.
I'll bet.
A text.
Nice.
Active crowd, or at least an active Kramer trying to get something happening.
But it's not. It's 4 different people, actually.
So Fats has definitely responded. He has said that they're
the most popular guys in the TFFL right now.
Yeah.
They're fun. Thanks, TFFL, for caring.
I'm not interested in any of these guys that people are floating. So
breaking news is that Fats did not have discussions with other teams. He had looked at Goff, was looking actively at taking him. So that was an intentional move on Fats's part, not necessarily a let's shop the QB market.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been targeting Goff. Yep. Final question on the Hams, and this one might elicit a longer debate or conversation here. We've talked a little bit about this on email already. He went out and traded for Chris Carson. Michael is positioned at number 4 overall to take Rashad Penny if Penny drops there. I think for a lot of us, that is, I said it in the mock draft, that is TFFL hell, having a running back tandem where you're having to – he's already traded a third. He's going to go spend a first. That's a lot of assets. He's going to use 2 roster spots on these guys. He's going to have to make a tough decision many weeks. I know the argument, I'm going to get 1 stud running back out of the deal. I'm not convinced you always get 1 stud running back. You sometimes get 2 timeshare running backs that don't add up to a lot of value. Now, Penny is a great talent, a first-round NFL talent. Do you let him pass at number 4 if you don't like that scenario?
Well, Berto's long been the defender of taking 2 running backs on the same team, right, knocking down the position. To your point, yeah, if you have to guess which one's going to play that particular week, that might not do you any good, right? You can't start them both. If one emerges as a clear favorite, okay, great. And you got his handcuff too. As far as I forget your central question to that. God damn it! So what's the question?
Should he take him at 4?
Well, yeah. Okay, so if Michael thinks that Penny, when healthy, is going to be the guy in Seattle, then yes, you absolutely take him at 4.
Yeah. So
that's what it comes down to. If you think he's
So,
going to be
yeah.
a part-timer, a 40% kind of guy, then no, you probably don't.
I've always pushed the owning a backfield, but in this case, maybe it is not worth it, because at the number 4 overall pick, there's theoretically just as similar talented running backs of the 7 guys or whatever. So maybe you don't need to bother doing that because he has a 4th overall pick, unless Michael truly believes that Penny is the guy and he's the best of the 4 guys or so that'll be available of those rookie running backs who are in play up there. Then he'll go for it. But he's in a position where he doesn't need to cause that drama. So
If he thought Penny was that good, he would not have traded for Carson, presumably.
That was the point I was going to make. He
True.
just
That
took
is
his
the
backup.
real
Took
question here.
Yeah.
he just got him.
If you're
So-
going to draft Penny, do you trade Peyton Barber for Chris Carson?
right.
Doesn't
Yeah.
make a whole lot of sense on the surface if you think Penny's that guy.
And the added wrinkle here that makes this all the more challenging is it's Seattle. It's Pete Carroll. Berto and I have both been in the situation of chasing Seattle running backs, and I think that the probability of Penny and Carson juggling in and out, maybe in the same game, week to week, being the top. I mean, in and out of the doghouse, in and out of favor, I think is very high.
I have it on good authority that Pete Carroll is jacked and stoked about Rashad Penny. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, chasing Seattle running backs since the departure of Marshawn Lynch has not been very fun at all. Let me tell you.
How you doing, Thomas Rawls?
Thomas Rawls, Mike Davis, Procise, goes on and on.
You're missing the biggest one of all,
Who am I missing? Who else?
Christine Michael.
Oh my God, yes. We're getting started there.
You could take him again. He's in Dallas this year, right?
The Colts.
Indianapolis, I think.
Indianapolis, even better.
Yes,
He might end up being a week 1 starter for the Colts.
he could. He could.
Whose roster is he on? Make a trade.
I'm taking him number 7 overall.
That's 6.
May as well.
All right, we're going to move to the other to the SoCo East, taking a look at the Beavers. This is a team that I, for much of the offseason has looked like the runaway favorites in that division. But, for all of the attention that we've paid to the Sponge and their problems with suspensions, 3 potential, maybe 4 potential keepers suspended or to be suspended. I think you're going to end up having 2 of them kept that are going to be suspended. To a lesser extent, the Aliens, we've talked about Carson Wentz maybe being out for week 1 or more to start the season. Dante Foreman now going on the PUP list, it sounds like. But the Beavers are a franchise that I think potentially very shorthanded to start the season. Le'Veon Bell now insisting he's not going to report on Labor Day. Presumably he's going to play week 1. I wouldn't guarantee that. How many carries does he get in week 1? Is Marlon Mack's hamstring going to be healthy enough for him to start in week 1? I don't think so. Alshon Jeffrey now out for at least 2 to 3 weeks to start the season. Beavers will not keep him as a result. They'll keep Demaryius Thomas instead after shopping him. Is this team maybe not so much of a favorite anymore?
They got the Mongols and the Devils to deal with in their division, right? So they're going to play those 2 teams coming out of the gate. I think they can beat both of those teams with a less than full effort. But they got to win those games to get together, and they're definitely shorthanded. I still think they can do it with Rodgers and Cooks and Thomas and Lamar Miller or McCaffrey. I think they can do it with that lineup, but they gotta make sure they win their division games.
Rodgers just got paid. He's going to mail it in. He's going to mail it in. He's going to pull a Jamarcus Russell.
Okay.
Real quick question here before we get to our mock draft analysis and a draft specific question for you guys. The rookie quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Who am I missing? Where do they go this year? We talked a lot, I think, last year about how rookie quarterbacks have slipped a little bit in the TFFL draft in recent years. They're not going in the first round as they did with Andrew Luck and RG3. But maybe they should be going higher. Deshaun Watson proving that last year. Carson Wentz developing very quickly as a second-year stud. How early does somebody jump on one of these quarterbacks? There are a lot of them out there. We'll have differing opinions on them, but I bet you a lot of people like different ones, and somebody's going to want to get the one they like early.
Like I said before, the quarterback market is so deep that it just pushes these guys further back, because you're now talking about guys like Phillip Rivers, right? Potentially Derek Carr, Mahomes we talked about, Jameis Winston, Stafford, right? Roethlisberger. So all those get, so that's, what did I just name? 7 or 8 guys. So you figure 8 different teams take them. So to me, it's going to be pretty far back this year. So I'm going to say 6th or 7th round for the first rookie quarterback to be taken.
Yeah, and we talked about this briefly, Stick, today, and they're all flawed, right? Josh Rosen, who I like his ability, right? He's not a starter. Baker Mayfield looks exciting guy. He could be this year's Deshaun Watson, not a starter. Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, terrible teams. They're not going to get the opportunities. Lamar Jackson, not a starter. I don't see a reason why anyone would take one before the 6th or 7th round. They're just, none of them are in good situations right now.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think that really, none of them can be your backup. And if you're only planning to draft, assuming everybody's keeping one quarterback, you draft one backup. This would be the guy you draft later to be the 3rd quarterback, and hopefully turns into being great. And it's playing with flyer picks, and I think 6th, 7th round is early for these guys. Great if that's where people want to pull them, but I think they'll be there.
Yeah. If you look at any one of these guys and say this guy in 2 years is going to be a stud quarterback, and that's guesswork at this point. You take them ahead of Phillip Rivers. I mean, you don't worry about what they're going to do this year.
You got to keep them then.
Yeah.
Phil's keeping Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson played last year, though.
You didn't draft him. I mean,
he wasn't a starter.
And I didn't draft him. I picked him up as a free agent.
That's my point. Is I think if you can look at any of these guys and objectively step back and say, I really like this guy's talent. We know all these guys are going to start at some point this year. When he starts, he's going to light it up. He's going to be my franchise quarterback. I think that's worth taking a 4th, 5th round pick on.
That might be a little early. I mean, Josh Allen definitely looks the part of Brett Favre, or being able to create and has the killer arm. Darnold looks poised and pro-ready. But I for the Jets and the Bills, they're terrible. Mm-hmm. So you have to draft them thinking, this is a gamble. I'll take them, sit on it for 8 weeks. Maybe they turn into something that I can count on and become my backup, through the stretch run. Or I dump them at that point for a free agent.
What would it take for you to trade away Deshaun Watson right now?
A lot. I mean, the point, but that is I didn't pick him up until he was already, had shown, wow, he's good and can play, and he's got the opportunity to play. If week 2, Josh Allen goes out and throws for 5 touchdowns and 400 yards, he's going to be the first pick in the free agent pool that week. If somebody feels like I got to take him before that happens, okay, then go for it.
The number of players in our draft pool with the potential to be as valuable as you think Deshaun Watson is right now, and you're right, there might be 10 guys out there, and I think half of them are the rookie quarterbacks.
and maybe I'm looking at it as you can only start one quarterback with a running back that you're kind of gambling on. Even if he's only going to get 5 or 6 carries some week or 3 carries, you might still gamble because you don't have a better option, and who the hell knows? You might bust one long. The quarterback's got to
refresh my memory. What other rookie quarterbacks came into the NFL last year?
Wentz.
Mitch Trubisky, was he one?
Trubisky,
Yes.
Who else?
Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes, good one.
Yep.
Deshaun Kaiser.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we can bring up Deshaun Watson all we want. He went undrafted. And Deshaun Kaiser went drafted. Mitch Trubisky, I think, went drafted. I mean, so yeah, it's easy to find the success stories, but you know, there's a whole lot of misses in there.
I think there were 10th round picks for those guys.
This is a bit of a rehash of the email argument we had about, you know, Ralph using the number 6 overall on a high upside rookie.
Yes.
But yeah, I think you've got to go get assets when you can. You guys can all go look back at the draft sheets and see that first round, second round, even 90% of all of our draft picks were used.
Yes.
I think you might as well roll the dice more often than not on guys where the return is through the roof.
As long as you're willing to carry a third quarterback.
Yeah, and you have to look at the haves and the have-nots, right, in terms of draft picks. So some of us don't have as many earlier round draft picks as we'd like, and there's some teams who are essentially going to be done by the 9th round or whatever. So
11 of my 13 are day 3 picks.
So, you know,
I have 2 picks in the first 2 days.
So somebody who's got some you know, a bevy of early picks is going to take a flyer. You're right, Stick. So maybe it will be earlier. We didn't really factor that into the equation here. So
It's odd how we often look at, you know, the lucky 1 or 2 or 3 owners at the very top of the first round who really are going to be able to make a difference in their franchise by getting a stud rookie running back. Again, there's a handful of other guys who often are much later in the draft, these rookie quarterbacks, who have that same potential. And I think I'm just suggesting I don't think they should necessarily go undrafted anymore. And maybe some teams should take a stab at them much earlier in the draft.
That's a good point. Good point.
All right, let's get to mocking our first round. I did this a couple nights ago. I hope you got a copy in front of you or on your screen or whatever. Saquon Barkley is not a debate. I think we kind of hit a turning point at number 2. Terry's got all the options in the world there among the second-tier rookie running backs. We talked, there's another, I think, big turning point at number 6 with Ralph. Does he go with a rookie running back as we've argued a little bit? Does he go with a top receiver to fill out his starting lineup? Does he go with a veteran running back? Give me your reaction. Let's start with the top half of the first round, the top 6 picks. Is there any debate that Nick Chubb belongs in this list?
Yes, there's debate about that. I think he can be some, if you like Cleveland or you think that he's going to be the guy to emerge, and Carlos Hyde has shown you that he's not, or Duke Johnson isn't going to steal a lot of the third down work, and he might, who knows. That's a little quick for Chubb. I like a couple of the other guys better.
I think he definitely belongs in the top 5. Again, the thing that scares me about Chubb is his injury history. I think he's a phenomenally talented guy. Again, I said this, I think, in our first webcast this year, or maybe the last one from last year. It seemed he spent 7 years at Georgia. It's like I don't remember a time where Nick Chubb wasn't at Georgia. It went from from Rodney Hampton to Nick Chubb. So, but he's a phenomenally talented guy. I would love him to follow me, which is not going to happen. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I'm sorry, Chief. Something else?
No, it's more or less it.
I was just gonna say those six guys from 2 to 7, you can throw them up in the air, and somehow, there's a couple guys that I like better than a couple of the other guys, but the fact of the matter is, after Barkley, it's Nobody really stands out. You know, Freeman, yeah, I guess, but
certainly eye of the beholder stuff.
yeah, it's eye of the beholder, and you know, who knows? So
And let's do this. Darius Geis is out there. How high does he go? I don't think it's first round. Might be second round for someone. Or we talk about the impact with 3 picks. Now that would be a savvy pick for the impact to sneak on Geis on one of those picks and sit on him and trade him in the offseason.
we talked about this on the last webcast, and I think Nick scolded us for we were saying you know, maybe the 4th round or something like that. I think.
Yeah. You know, but yeah, if you're right, if he comes back and has like a great training camp or a great summer and you could trade him for some capital before the draft, that's maybe your upside. But how high of a pick do you want to use on a guy that's not going to play for you this year?
That's the thing. I think looking ahead to maybe, again, we're talking about Ralph. He's probably not going to end up keeping Geis in this scenario because he's got 4 running backs already. If he wants to draft Geis to trade him next year, I don't think he can expect to get a first rounder.
Right.
And so I don't think you spend a first rounder on him. But yeah, I bet you, hey, Phil is a team with a lot of early draft picks. The Mongols actually have some extra picks. Somebody will probably pull the trigger on him. I think maybe earlier than the 4th, maybe the 3rd. Yeah, we'll see.
But and this is kind of goes to your point from the whole drafting the running backs when you can.
Yeah.
Right. Does drafting Geis allow him to unload, let's say, Elliott for 3 number 1s or something absurd like that next year? You know, so
I would have no problem if Ralph in particular could afford to do that. I don't think it'll happen that early, but whoever takes him, even in the 2nd round or 3rd round or wherever, you're getting an asset there.
And just to put a period on this, Ralph spent a 1st round pick on a Ricky Williams who was out of the NFL 1 year, knowing he was getting nothing from him for a year. So whatever. I know I've kind of steered us away from the mock draft.
Well, let me come back to, we've talked about 1 through 6. Let me get to number 7. We've got Berto here. If you keep Adrian Peterson.
Yes.
Peterson, Lynch, Alex Collins, Zach Ertz. Does that at all give you flexibility to take a receiver there, take the first receiver off the board there at number 7? Probably a good value.
Maybe.
Great answer.
Now,
Great answer.
I mean, truth be told, I'm going to take a rookie running back. So
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the clarity we're looking for, Berto. That's the reason people tune into this webcast, is for insight.
I'll be very blunt because, you know, the Alan Hearnses of the world still haunt me. Corey Davis, fine. I think he'll be fine. But I haven't selected a rookie running back in the top half of the draft in many years. So I'm excited to do that. So.
All right, moving on. Number 8 is Chief. I was kind of joking, pretty much joking with Josh Gordon there to him. The last thing he needs is another player with great potential for suspension. But I think it's pretty certain that Chief will probably go with a receiver there.
I have to.
Yeah.
I mean, my first 4 picks are 1st round, 2nd round, 5th round, 8th round. I need 2 starting receivers, everyday players.
Yep.
All right. Honestly, ideally, what will happen is there'll be a rookie running back on the board that I can trade and move back in the draft and pick up a 3rd or 4th rounder. That's what I hope happens. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that if it doesn't materialize, it'll be the top-rated wide receiver.
All right.
Again, someone who's going to play every day, who's got a very high floor, and I don't have to worry about.
I hope our viewers picked up on that valuable nugget there. If let's say Ralph takes a receiver off the board at number 6 and a rookie running back drops to 8, Chief could be a hot spot to trade into the 1st round.
And there's more. You know, Jordan Wilkins might be a guy worth going in the later stages of this round.
Yep.
Especially with Marlon Mack possibly not playing the first part of the season.
If you're looking to trade up, Chief is the guy to talk to. I can also tell you, I think I'm not leaking anything here. Actually, I think he would want this leaked. I believe the Hams are perhaps looking to trade down a little bit from the second round. So, yeah, I think we're going to see lots of trades here over the last few days. Moving on in our mock draft real quick. Amsterdam Packers. I think in some combination, they'll take a running back and 2 receivers. That seems to be a consensus thought. Larry Fitzgerald, I think, is going to go in the first round. We talked to Ralph last night. He's certainly going to be interested in looking at Fitzgerald if he's there.
I guarantee I'll take him if he's there. If I don't take that pick.
Chief with a receiver at 8. Yeah. So Fitzgerald, I think, is going first round. At some point, we might want to discuss why Larry Fitzgerald never gets kept. I know he's getting old every year, but he's been getting old for 5 years and constantly as a first or second round pick who produces. Number 10 here, I've got the Senators. They're surely going to be coming in with a veteran running back. Is Dion Lewis really the top of the list for veteran running backs? Are there others who should be in consideration here? Is LeGarrette Blount really a first-round consideration, as Kramer would have us believe?
No, that's complete smoke.
I think he'll go in the first round.
I like your Lewis call. I think Lewis is probably the right call there. Or Tariq Cohen is the other one, and you have him going to the fast call picks later. I think those 2 guys are top.
Here's my thing with, and it goes right with, the argument of whether Ralph should take a rookie running back. If my team is as good as Ralph's or Kevin's right now, they're both good and they're both young. I am not thinking about 2019 or down the road. I want to win the Pact Bowl now.
Yeah.
And I think a guy like LeGarrette Blount is more likely to do that than a guy like Tariq Cohen.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I'll throw another name out there. Whoever the Fats don't keep of Burkhead or James White, and the Sens load up on another Patriot.
Yep. That will be right around the first or second round turn, I think.
Yep.
Or it could be, instead of Tariq Cohen at number 12, maybe the Fats take James White. Well, they're not going to take White and Burkhead again, I presume. So they may not do that. I've got Calvin Ridley going to the AMPAC at 11. It's the first time I've put Ridley in the first round in my mocks. Broader question here. We've got Ridley. We got DJ Moore. There's a couple other rookie receivers who I don't think are going to go quite that high. But is a rookie receiver really going to jump into the first round? Or maybe we might even go a couple rounds, I think, without a rookie receiver. Where do you see those guys going?
I
mean, this pick is prime Josh Gordon territory.
Yeah, I was going to say the same exact thing.
I think we're all thinking
Gordon spot right here.
Where the rookie receiver is going to go. Ralph could take a chance. Is Ridley the best? I don't know if Ridley's the best receiver out there. Corey Davis was kind of head and shoulders above last year. But I even think, and I said at the time, I think he paled next to the number 1 receivers from previous years. So I think we can look at maybe the late second round at the earliest. I think they'll start going off. I think it'll probably be 4 or 5 veteran wide receivers go off before we see one.
There might be 3 or 4 veterans that go early. You mentioned Fitzgerald and Josh Gordon. Ridley maybe is the best rookie receiver. I think I could see Ralph taking a flyer on that there. He's already got a rookie running back in Fitzgerald in your mock draft. So, throwing out a gamble on greatness is not a terrible thing with a first round pick.
All right, last draft question for you, and then I'll give you a trivia answer, and we'll wrap up. I have no idea how long we've been going here.
I can go another hour, man.
I'm ready. I was so excited, you guys. Cannot wait.
All right, I'll start this with Chief. For all the arguments about grabbing veteran running backs and guys who can contribute right away, we don't have a ton of high-impact tight ends in this draft, but there are going to be a few guys, Greg Olsen, Kyle Rudolph. I feel like I'm missing a third guy who's at the top of the list. How early do those guys go? If you're advocating that Blount is a good pick at the end of the first round, is Greg Olsen a good pick at the end of the first round? Do any of these guys go in the second round?
I think Greg Olsen could go as high as 11 or 12. I think maybe 14, 15, 16 is more likely. I feel confident he'll be gone by my pick in the second round. Kyle Rudolph maybe around later. You know, we have a unique league as far as tight ends.
Yeah,
they're overvalued for good reason. But I think to your greater point, I think where you're going with this is, after that, it seems to be a void, which I think might push. I think Jimmy Graham might be the other guy you were thinking of. Should he make his way back into the draft?
Yeah.
Right. But I think the lack of top-notch tight ends after those might push him up even higher. I mean, where do you go after that?
Trey Burton, I think, might be the next name on that list.
You got Delaney Walker. You got David Njoku from Cleveland. He's getting a lot of hype. I mean, I think there's some
Jordan Reed.
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys out there that could pop. I think. I don't think the tight end position is as bad as people talk about, because there's a lot of guys with a lot of potential there, I think. So
says the guy who built a team on Gronk and now has Ertz and is spouting the strength of the tight end. And hey, you're unpackable enough times to say so.
There's some good ones out there, I think. Yeah.
I'll tell you, the more, 'cause, again, I'm picking, my first pick is at number 30 overall. The more I look at who the number 20 ranked running back will be, who will be available to me there. When I look at that range of running backs from my number 10 to 25 guy, there's not a lot of great options sitting out there, and I'm finding I'm moving a lot of tight ends up in my rankings, because I can at least count on Kyle Rudolph to go out there and get 60 yards, 40 yards most weeks. A touchdown every other week, perhaps, and that's better than a lot of the running backs sitting out there after the top 10 or 15.
Well, even if you look at the numbers, right? So every team, let's say 36 running backs, roughly, compared to 5 tight ends. So you have, you've more than filled the position at running back, and you have less than half of the starting, what you would consider starting caliber tight end selected. So I think there's value there.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me give you your trivia answer.
Is this the most I've looked at my phone during a webcast?
Could be.
Yes, it is.
All right, I don't know if Hank is keeping score anymore, but I'm looking for the 2 franchises that have selected 2 quarterbacks in the second round in the last 5 years. There's only 4 quarterbacks who have gone in the second round the last 5 years. The Aliens are one of those teams.
Yes.
The Hormel Hams are the other team.
So Damn it. Got them both.
Who got them both? Phil?
Chief did.
Chief did.
Berto and I get 1 each. Chief gets 2. Okay, that's not a total failure.
So if you're looking to figure out when the first quarterback will go off the board in 2018,
was it Carson Wentz, Sam Bradford,
wow,
Roethlisberger, and Mike got the 2 in a row. The second one was Sam Bradford. I can't think of the other one was.
Give me just a moment. I will get you the answer live here. Sam Bradford, he took at the end of the second round in 2015. We need the 2016 draft team. I'll have to. Oh, here it is. Jameis Winston in 2016. All right, so yeah, again, I don't have a pick in the first 2 rounds, so the Aliens will not be taking a quarterback by the end of the second round this year. The Hormel Hams are trying to trade down in the second round, it sounds like. Maybe out of the second round. They may not be in the second round. So I'm kind of figuring, especially with Jared Goff now being kept, kind of figuring we don't see our first quarterback go off the board until the 3rd round this year. And when you look at where the 2nd, 3rd, 4th quarterbacks go off the board in most drafts, it's actually later than you think. We may see 1 or 2 guys in the 3rd round. And really the run may not start until the 5th round, as it often does. So there you have it at quarterback. 2 points to Chief, 1 to Hank and Berto. If you're keeping score at home, do so honestly.
Phil, did we have a standings? I'm sorry.
The last one I have recorded is 12-19-17.
And yet you've written them down after every webcast.
Well, I'm going to have to go look back. I now have it in my document here that will be more official for the remainder
We
of the
talked
season.
about getting an intern on this project.
This is the preseason.
Yeah, I need an intern. I definitely do.
Luke, watch every TFFL webcast.
Luke's the one who gummed up the tech department before the webcast started. I don't want him.
He knows it's a couple hours of labor then.
I want him nowhere near this.
All right. So hey, good luck everybody. We got good luck with your trades. Good luck with your final keeper decisions. Good luck. Safe travels down to Myrtle Beach. We'll see everybody in a week. Good luck with your draft planning. Really, I know we're all looking forward to it. It's almost here, folks.
I'm going to spend the next hour responding no to all these trades.
No trades through the webcast, but it wasn't for a lack of trying.
Yeah,
I know Kramer is really anxious to trade. Anybody who wants LeGarrette Blount can have it. Yeah. So,
all right.
Kramer's ready.
See you guys soon. We'll look for Terry to send out the keeper lists Saturday or Sunday. And I don't think we'll do another webcast before the start of the season, but we'll be back here after the draft, after week 1 action. We'll have Terry back. But again, good luck in all your preparation. Safe travels. We'll see everybody soon. Take care.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.